This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at nflsundayticket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
It's really cool. Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbif Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, top 14, Pro de Nationale, Champions Cup, Challenge Cups, the French national team, and of course the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, stadiums, everything that makes the French rugby experience so sublime. I'm going to use the word sublime, Rob. We're recording this, earliest ever. You could argue we're incredibly organised, or could argue we're squeezing it in.
We once recorded on a Sunday morning with Sunday evening Australian time
with Steve.
With Steve Cummins. Yeah,
you're right.
We did the Sunday morning also as a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's Sunday afternoon. We are early. I'll give you that.
We are early. So what we don't know is how Hugo Cerns is going to go on his first start for Racing at 10 home to Bordeaux. You know, we could be. You said when we were talking earlier, it could be 50 all.
They're going to come in for like their top 14 like roundup after Racing have put 70 points on Bordeaux, being like, can't wait to hear what the boys think about it. Well, wasn't Hugo Cerns amazing? Is all I have to say.
He was brilliant. Yeah, and it was mad that Cameron Waukee got in a fight on the pitch with Lorenzetti afterwards as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing too. Yeah, well, I think we feel that's going to go the way of Bordeaux, but who knows? Rob, what have you been up to this weekend? Why are we recording a little bit early? We're off.
We are both off to sunnier climes because it's blooming miserable now here. It's been a very damp September, hasn't it? 14 days in, but we are separately off to southern Italy. I'm off to Puglia tomorrow, and the day after you're off to Naples. Yeah, Napoli. We call it. Are you going Fronglais?
Fronglais, is Napoli?
Yeah, I know.
Which one's the Fronglais?
Don't know.
But yeah, no, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting stuck into plenty of pizza. Apparently, the €1 spritz bar is a thing in Napoli. Yeah, cheap spritz and loads of Maradona pictures. So sounds kind of everything you could possibly need in a trip.
There's also in Naples now, or Napoli, there is a shrine to or a mural to Scott McTominay.
Yes,
that is true. Like that sounds like I've made it up, but
things you
Ballon d'Or
nominee,
isn't he?
A couple of years ago, Scott McTominay idolised in Naples. Very cool.
Him and Maradona are like peas in a pod, mate.
Incredible. Just before we spoke, we're going to get onto the top 14 in just a moment. Did you catch any of this afternoon the France-Ireland game down at Sandy Park?
We are fresh. I actually caught the last. I turned on at 13-0, so I turned on about 45 minutes. So I didn't see any of the Ireland points, I think, in that time. But they seemed like the better team, and I've not seen the bite where someone seems to have confused a forearm for a baguette. But it's genuinely like munching in.
It's a proper munch. Yeah. It doesn't look great. I'll be honest with you.
Surely, like the girl or the woman has like come out with just a bite mark on her forearm.
Yeah, I think she showed it. It was is it Aoife Wafer, I think her name is, who's the 7, who was amazing, actually,
Yeah.
all game. It was incredible. And she's just showing it to the ref, like, I mean,
Have a look.
she's bitten me.
Yeah.
Right in front, and yeah, I think I don't know, not great, particularly when you lose in the last play by a score. But France march on, and
They did run the length from.
Yeah,
they did do something very French,
incredible try.
which was
Joanna
about
Grise,
the only
I
good
think it
rugby.
was.
Yeah, about the only good rugby I saw from France in the 35 minutes of game time that I watched. I thought they were pretty crap. Yeah, Ireland gallant losers, I think.
Yeah, it was a shame. It was quite an emotional Irish side at the conclusion as well. I think they feel they nearly did something special. But it was a fabulous game. It also has knock-on effects for the top 14 next weekend, and potentially, I guess, looking ahead to our trip, we might be scuppered. So,
Well, England are currently 40 points to 3 up against Scotland. I can't. The way they're going, you'd imagine they would steamroller France, and therefore France will not make the final.
Well, we've got a vested interest, I would suggest, in that happening, because the top 14, the 4:30 kickoffs next week, I believe, have all been pushed back to 6:30 in order to make sure there's no clash with that semi-final. And I suppose where the same things happen the week afterwards, that might put paid to our our beautifully planned Montauban Toulouse double header. So yeah, we'll have to see how that works out. But England looking fairly ominous from everything I've seen. But yeah, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Cool. All right. Top 14, Rob, round 2. Where do you want to start? Should we start at the top we had Carl Wilkins on last week. Montauban succumbed at home by 7 points, 18-25 to Lyon in what was a fairly untidy affair, I think it would be fair to say, and one that I think Montauban it's going to be a tough season, and this feels early like one that got away. Just, I don't know. I think what was encouraging for Montauban is actually they physically mixed it really well, and I think their back row, Wilkins, Ringay in particular, were very good. But some of the decision making, the little bit of impatience, white line fever, particularly in the first half, I'd say left a little bit to be desired. And then you got the small matter of a man we're going to continue talking about, give the ball to Gita Wynangolo, because Lyon looked like they were going to not really ever create anything. Just give it to him and he'll run round 9 blokes and make another 160 metres or whatever he does. Yeah, absolute freak show of a bloke. But what were your thoughts on it?
Well, I think that's a touch harsh on Lyon, because the Youssef Massey try in the first half, I know it comes from Wynangolo, but they do create the space quite nicely. I caught bits of this. I thought, Montauban seemed to be a relatively fit side, I think. That's a good positive. Like, the fact they've come back into the game in the second half, at the back end of the second half in both weeks, I think is a good sign. I did see just Wynangolo was a class above in this game generally, I thought, with the possible exception of Paddy Jackson, who looked pretty tidy on a decent amount of game time for a man that had a lot of injuries. But yeah, I thought Montauban didn't look out of their depth, I don't think. There was the odd bit of like, they've not got the depth there. And I think with the two, I know he's not first choice kicker and I know they were tough kicks, but Mushu, I didn't think much of last year. And I think didn't look like a kind of top 14 quality player to me, just a bit inaccurate. And obviously the 2 kicks, like Boswell's gone off. I think Boswell probably gets one of them if he's on, at least one of them. And they just don't have that as your backup kicker. Don't know. Maybe I'm being overly harsh.
They're missing Fortunel, aren't they? So they're kind of down to third choice. But yeah, I agree in terms of I don't think they did look out of their depth, and it was real, like, it's a bit of a dull cliche, but like real coach killer stuff, sort of forcing a last offload when it didn't need to go. But the line out worked pretty well. The scrum was good. They probably got the nudge on Lyon. And to the scrum's front row, I thought Thomas Buet, the loose head, was absolutely outstanding. haven't seen a huge amount of him, but he looks like a serious player, both with the gritty stuff and carried wonderfully as well. So yeah, I've got Rob. I feel like that game in a couple of weeks against Montpellier, it could be. Just got a feeling we might be witnessing that first win of the year. That's my takeaway. If they can pull it together a little bit, because there's definitely something there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, who will probably be starting by then, who I thought looked great, was Via Fafita.
Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
That's a cool, if he ends up being like their Makalu, where you've just got this freak athlete doing absolutely everything and anything, then good on them for getting him into the top 14. And yeah, I'm not overly worried about Montauban after that, I have to say. I think the fact that the way Fafita came on looked good. I think VC is going to be a lot of fun watching week in, week out. Like, it was something quite good about just, there was a little bit of a period where it felt like it was VC was going to do something, then Wine and Golo was going to like trump him, and then VC came back and was like banging people, and yeah, it was good fun to watch. I know he was a good friend of his, but very reminiscent of the late Josiah Rysunga from Josh VC, like just a big unit, powerful both sides of the ball, rapid, bit of a legend. Like, yeah,
doesn't take himself too seriously as well, and not just the hair. Like there are a couple of moments in the game where he was like posing and like lapping up the crowd's adoration and things. And you're like, yeah, I like this guy.
He's going to be good fun to watch. I did enjoy Bosville early drop goal like that. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, those were the penalty.
I think he's got 10 last year,
which I always think is a bit. Yeah,
I did see.
I'd rather him be spiral bombing that, but it was a lovely drop nonetheless.
I did see a spiral bomb, and I really hoped that like the first one I saw was going to be like Chapchet just like running figure of 8 round the ball, like. But unfortunately, I think he dealt with it. Whoever it was dealt with it quite well.
Was that in the first half?
No, it would have been second half.
Oh, because there was one in the first half, and I thought the same. And I can't remember if it was Chapchet or it may have been Burdu before he went off, and he just hoovered it up with no drama. And I was like, oh, maybe this weapon isn't quite as effective, but I'm sure someone will get made to look silly. Leo Burdu, who had a real torrid time by VC, got absolutely thumped a couple of times, and then went off for a I think HIA and didn't return. He was very much in the firing line.
One player I've been impressed with for Lyon over the last couple of weeks, and they made 10 changes, which I thought was punchy. Like, I thought that might be a little bit. I thought it was like, this is clearly a very winnable away game. Why are they not going stronger? And I think it was a slightly weaker side with those 10 changes, albeit they brought in Massey and Wanakolo, and they've only really got like one scrum half at the moment, so feels like they can't change scrum half. But I've been really impressed the last couple of weeks with Theo Millet, and I know like that's not huge news. The guy toured with France and New Zealand, like I know he didn't play, but just looks like a really good player that sticks it all together, does the simple things, good at draw and give, good at fixing the line, straightening up, hands look good. Just looks like quite a good player for me. I think it's good underrated one at Lyon.
Agreed. Just a final word on someone I thought had a really good game on the Montauban side. Carl called him out last week. Segundo Tucalet at 15 was really busy. Yeah, real hot stepping. Again, good fun to watch. So, yeah, I think following the week before, feeling it's still going to be a mountain to climb, right? But feeling a bit more optimistic about all things Sapiac Montauban.
Yeah.
You mentioned, maybe as a nice little forced segue, you mentioned Sekou Makalu there. A little bit of drama in the week. He put out a very cryptic Instagram post saying something like, sometimes it's a new season, sometimes it's your last season, like changes afoot. Apparently there's like he's not going anywhere. And I think
it was like Louis Carbonell commenting like, go well, mate, or like, be ashamed to see you go, or something like that. Like his teammates.
We've been on the receiving end. Carbonell, he's an online troll. He's just there stirring the pot, giving people dodgy ratings on Spotify. But your boys, Poe, march on, Rob. They've messed with yesterday. They haven't lost in 6, 7.
Haven't 6 wins in a row in competitive games. They've not lost since they lost 2 on the bounce in front of yours truly. Yeah. At home to Bordeaux and then away in the Real Arena against Bayonne. But other than that, they've won 6 in a row. So that's 3 wins in that, which for a team that went over a year without an away win. Yeah. quite impressive to get a few more away wins. But they were, from what I could tell, they looked really good. I think the scrum struggled a little bit more than last week, maybe. But the line out works really well. There was one line out move, right at the start, the try from Dan Robson comes from a really nicely worked line out move with Gorgadze peeling around and just Fabien Braubery nearly like hauling people to the line. They scored some wonderful tries in this. Like there's the Aaron Grandidier one.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
So cool. And it's kind of like, I don't know whether they create the space well enough or not, but it's just doesn't matter how much space you create when you've got someone as quick as Grandidier on the outside arc. Like, he's just burns like three people so quick.
I'm not sure I've realised quite how quick he is.
And then Atosogbe's at full tilt to keep up with him, and they do a lovely little bit of interplay. Atosogbe, who kind of came out with 2 assists, no tries, but some lovely little inside balls for Grandidier, and then earlier on, I think, for Reece Hewitt, which was a really nicely worked try. But it looks like, I mean, that back line is exciting when you see it on paper.
Yeah,
with
it really
Braubery and Gaeton and Atosogbe. Now Aaron Grandidier kind of developing his game. Like he was a little bit fish out of water at times, kind of in 15s last season. Maddox is a keep. Like he takes a lot of burden off them in terms of like the playmaking and bit of experienced head. Like it's a proper backline. You've got those experienced English halfbacks, and they look really good. I didn't see much from Stade Francais, to be honest, outside of getting skinned. Really, bit of physicality stuff, few errors as you might expect. Makalou seemed to be pretty busy. Shock, but it was a good result for Po. Really good result. Bonus point win.
Excellent. They're looking at you right on paper. You sort of suddenly see that, and to your point at the start of the season, around a little bit, not saying that Po are going to win the league or anything, but if they're going to go beyond being a little bit of an also-ran and kind of busting into that top 6 and getting a proper barrage place and things like that, you're like, well, if not now, then than when you got that back line, Gorgadze with Issa lurking in the 20 jersey on the bench, you're thinking, wow, this is a proper side.
I think the thing which I kind of didn't say in that early season is that Gaeton's contract is up at the end of the season, and he may yet
rumoured to go to Toulouse.
He may yet stay at Po, but when you've got Toulouse and La Rochelle and Bordeaux sniffing, chances are he's going to get. Generally you don't stay, but we will see, and that's why it kind of feels a bit now or never, because this young backline is maturing at the same time, or they're all still 22 or younger, but they kind of might lose one of their number over the summer, and therefore it would be rebuild again. There'll probably be another bloke coming through, but
you mentioned Toulouse there. I haven't caught any of the Toulouse Perpignan game. What I did see was that Hugo Moller was not particularly happy at full time. He was quite animated speaking with his team.
Oh, really?
And I also saw, which has nothing to do with the game itself, apparently, and unsurprisingly, Guillaume Cramont apparently has 6 clubs interested in it. Which is
there are quite a few Toulouse players out of contract at the end of the season, which is amazing because I feel like they re-signed about 25 players last year.
Yeah.
But there are a few quite big names. But Toulouse scored some very Toulouse tries. Entomac looked really good. Like, I know I'm a bit hot and cold with Entomac, but he was probably doing the stuff where we were waxing lyrical about Ramos last week. Some of the touches at 10 and as a playmaker from Entomac were really, really nice. But Perpignan sent quite a strong side. Like, they did go physical, and that physicality kind of came to bear at one point with the try for Max Hicks that kind of came from a Dingivalu bust around the outside. But it's just looked a bit reliant on Tommy Allen's boot still, from what I could tell. And Toulouse are obviously a better team. I think
fair enough.
I think Toulouse were 100 to 1 1 to 100 to win that game, or even 1 to 200. Like, even to get plus 30 margin you were only just about getting to evens then. It was they were heavily favourites. So actually, it's a relatively good performance from Perpignan. And maybe I don't think there were any points in the last 25 minutes. So maybe that is why Hugo Moller was nay happy.
Yeah. I think actually there's been a couple of games this weekend in both leagues that have made me think that actually might not prove out, but that actually it's going to be a slightly more competitive league, and we're going to see a few more. Albeit, I think it's all home wins thus far across both. Did we see an away win? Leon, of course. Sorry, yeah, my mistake. But yeah, just feels like there's a little bit of fight away from home. My boys Cast at Toulon, I think, were a good example of that. Obviously, maybe arguably a bit disappointed with the amount of ball they had, albeit in slightly slippery conditions, but particularly their possession in the last 10 minutes to maybe not get what would be a real sort of bonus win away from home.
Yeah.
But I think certainly coming from the performance last week, they're still sometimes a little bit sloppy in possession, albeit looking to play at times a relatively expansive game. But
they're ambitious, definitely. I don't think you can't fault that if you watch Cast these days. It's just the execution is lacking sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that will come. And yeah, I must say, as a sort of Cast fan, I'm feeling a bit more optimistic than last week. Brilliant to see Tom Staniforth back, a year, 3 months and 6 days since his last top 14 game, which is pretty incredible.
Wow.
He was top of the carries, 15 or something, which is like just in sheer numbers the guy gets through in attack and defence is wild. And the mullet is looking even more evil than before. And I thought Adam Vargas and debut looked very good as well.
Looked pretty good on debut, yeah, from what I saw.
Just one of those, like they're sort of renowned for it, Cast, right? But just a guy who didn't look overawed at all. Quite a clever player, picks some really nice lines, gets involved off his wing. So yeah, a little bit disappointed.
Defended quite well as well at times.
Yeah, I thought so. And ultimately, the kind of difference maker, the game breaker in this was a brilliant try from Gail Drehan,
who was outstanding generally across the game. But that's a phenomenal try, and it is just that, like, it's not even a particularly slick move from Toulon, who did look very slick last week. It's just a moment of individual brilliance. And that's the 16-12. Like, that's the reason for why Toulon won. It was a lot of cancelling each other out in that game. I felt, but the Drehan try, second week in a row, he's done something absolutely outrageous. Yeah, banging down the door after, because he didn't make the tour over the summer, I think, because he was injured. But impressive start to the season from Lorient. I didn't realise that.
Oh, really? No, I did not know that either.
Brittany, yeah.
So what have we got left? Montpellier
La Rochelle
pushed. Ooh, which one do you want to go to?
that wasn't a good game. We can gloss over that. Montpellier were not great.
Not pretty.
The
decent bonus point at the start.
Yeah, good result. But their game plan still seems to be: can we win a penalty within 50 meters, and then just try and hope that our kicker hopefully lumps it over. Like, a lot of the highlights was Domingo Miotti trying and sometimes achieving long-range penalty goals. Yeah, and then they gave away some really dense penalties for some of Bayonn's points. And when it's you lose by 3 points at Stade Jean Daget, some of the penalties were fairly dense. And like the Capia try, he is rapid, by the way, absolutely bloody rapid. But that's like someone I think it's Tyler Duguay bites in on Andy Bordelais. Like, they've gone for like, some of the Montpellier defence was terrible. If you've got a guy biting in for a 2-man hit on a loose head prop to open up a gap for a bloke that plays sevens rugby and is a freak athlete, not sure that's great.
Decision making is not quite there.
Yeah, which one's the bigger threat from 50 metres? The loose head prop or the bloke that plays sevens?
Yeah. But I will say on this, nice to see in that Montpellier team a bit of the two guys who were on loan in Pro D2 last year. Alex Masabaka was on the bench, wasn't he? And Carl Martin, who was Aurillac last year, right?
Yeah, involved in the try. A nice little tip on for the Ngandebe try.
Carl Martin,
yeah. But yeah, the game that I probably saw the most of was actually La Rochelle v Clermont. And I guess we were kind of discussing, Rich, what have you changed your mind on since pre-season? And I think I was a little bit harsh about Clermont's signings. I think some of their signings are actually a little bit better than I perhaps gave them credit for. I think Harry Plummer is a good player. Like, he ultimately was a fairly regular starter for a Blues side that have been very good. Tavita Ratuva in the second row, I think, is a really good signing. Like, big lump, really active. just whacks people, puts himself about, which is what you want in the top 14. One player that I'm amazed as a professional rugby player is Tom Raffy. Like,
yeah.
A, I'm amazed he's only 21. B, I'm amazed he's a professional rugby player. He looks a vision of health. He is not.
Yeah, he looks like he's had a tough paper round for a young lad. Well, I mean, I did
it's not like a tough paper round. Like, he's not like, he just doesn't look young. He looks like, if you told me he was 40 years old and his name was, I'd be like,
he does look a bit like a seasoned,
like someone's uncle. Yeah,
like a seasoned top 14 player who's been brought in on a medical joker rather than a recent France under-20s. But yeah, I mean, my one encounter with Tom Raffy was in Le Watson Bar in Brive, and he certainly wasn't shy on he wasn't shy on a few beers and a few darts. So, I mean, they obviously they've brought him in at a young age to be second choice fly half. There must be something there, but
he's on loan. He's only on loan.
Is he on loan, is he?
Which speaks to me of some pretty interesting recruitment to lose two experienced fly halves, and then bring in a bloke from New Zealand and then a young French lad on loan from Pro D2 because he can't get a game. He's like fourth choice at Brive. It's a bit odd.
Yeah.
So maybe Clermont's recruitment hasn't been that good after all. But generally, La Rochelle were good, and they are showing stuff in attack. I don't know whether that is because they've got new players or whether guys like Lavani Bottier and Jonathan Dante are fit and actually in form and fit. Dante looks really, really good. Bottier looks...
That's good to see as well, because you sort of forget what a fantastic player he was a few years back, both at international and club level, and kind of totally faded with, as you say, with injuries. So yeah, nice to see him flying around for sure.
What else did I think of this game? Astoy. Oh, we had an own try of the season contender.
Oh, the
charge down from Zamora.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. Isn't it?
There was a few periods. Actually, I've got loads to say about this game. There was a few things in this that were just absolutely wild. So that try that ends up being the Hastoy try starts on La Rochelle's 5 metre line. Peter Gustuakula off the base just pops the ball perfect. It's a good read from Le Garrec. Le Garrec on his own 5 metre line, interception. You think even he could run the length from there. He's got Niniashvili coming up on his outside with one defender, and for whatever reason, despite being a scrum half, who you'd imagine might be able to find a pass to a winger, decides to kick ahead, which is an absolute butchering of the try. Like, he's got Niniashvili at full tilt, about less than 20 metre pass away, and he decides to kick it ahead in behind. So Clermont somehow scramble back. And yet, in doing so, as they're about to clear, it might actually be Le Garrec that gets him, but like Lucas Zamora, the reserve scrum half, in attempting the box kick, gets hauled down, full air shot. The ball like hits Hastoy's turned his back. It hits Hastoy on the heel and like falls over the line, and then Hastoy just turns around and plops it down.
There's also
I don't know whether it's a full own try, because he does get he doesn't quite like drop it on the floor, but he does, if that makes sense.
I think the other thing that also made this particularly fun / painful, depending on your viewpoint, was there's a couple of lads who have scrambled back to make the ball, who are like, or as you say, when the ball goes through, who are like sucking in the big ones to try and haul themselves off, and they get themselves into a little pod. It looks for all money that they're gonna set a little pod to reset the box kick and open up a bit of an angle, and he just panics and, for want of a better word, just totally fucks it, doesn't he? And you can see them looking at him afterwards like, what on earth have you just done? Not least because it was actually a fairly, it was still quite a tight game, right, at this point. It was quite something.
I've got another thing that I need to talk about. But
on the slightly less rugby side of things, I feel that Marcel de Flandre is looking and sounding even more imposing now that they've filled in the corners. They've kind of got those. I think it's an additional maybe 1,500 seats or something in each of the corners, or in total, and it just sounded pretty aggressive in there.
Yeah, the other wild bit. Well, first of all, we had the first orange card in this game
Yes.
In the top 14, Rob Simmons. And I was having seen the match like details and seeing that it was red, I was like, surely this is going to be an orange because this is what they're there for. And it wasn't orange, but it didn't matter in terms of someone come back on because it was late enough in the game. The other bit that was so rogue is there's like a knock on at a ruck from La Rochelle on their 22.
Yeah, I know
Ludovic Kerr gives the knock on. The whistle goes. Just as the whistle goes, Alaverity Raka, who has no lid now, which is I don't like. He's gone full bit, well, not quite full bit, but shaved his hair off. Picks the ball up. He's just picked the ball up, and as the whistle goes, has an easy, clear run in, especially for him. 22 meters to the line, dots the ball down. They all celebrate. Ludovic Kerr awards the try, which is like, mate, you've just blown the whistle. What is going on? Conveniently, they find that Raka has entered in from the side, despite this, this penalty happening. This entrance at the side being 1 meter away from Ludovic Kerr live. He has managed.
It was a bit of a
It's
a bit of a bail,
fuck! I've made a mistake. Yeah, I've blown the whistle here.
It was weird though.
Can't award the try.
The whistle blow was like, it was like a half blow. He kind of like, it's like a little, it's not like, it wasn't one that everyone stopped, I don't think, but yeah, in the end.
Well, yeah, because they're just playing advantage anyway, because he's about to score a try.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have blown it, but he did, and therefore you can't award the try.
Yeah.
And he found a lovely little penalty infringement to bail himself out.
Did it nicely though, I would say. The way he sort of excavated himself from the situation, I thought was pretty impressive.
Oh.
Very
excellent
good
refereeing.
Yeah, I think that rounds us out. We'll do some predictions or previews in just a sec.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Well, it caught me slightly unawares our enforced cut-off, but we've got time to have a little look ahead to next week. I assume we probably won't be seeing too much of this, given hopefully we'll be in various parts of Italy enjoying weather, spritz, etc. But there's a few intriguing games. Your boys Po at Clermont.
Well, yeah, shall we? So the games in order: Clermont host Po, Bordeaux host Montauban, Castres host Bayonne, Lyon host Stade Francais, Perpignan at home to Racing, Montpellier at home to Stade Toulousain, and then that's the late kickoff. That's the one game that we can be certain about the starting time. That will be a 9:05 kickoff French time. And then Sunday is a tasty one, Toulon v La Rochelle. Go on then, give me your predictions.
What do we think? I think, based on what I saw yesterday, I think Clermont at home. I think that's quite a big ask for Po. I think Castres will beat Bayonne. I think they can't go, well, they can do, but I think they'll be pretty fired up and it might be the sort of game Bayonne rest a few for, potentially. I think Perpignan will beat Racing. Lyon, Stade Francais. That feels like
Lyon
it could be.
At home, Lyon are winning that.
Well, I'll go Stade Francais then.
Are you?
Well,
you love Lyon.
I don't love Lyon. I quite like Lyon. I think they're slightly undersung as a team and as a kind of rugby place. I assume Bordeaux Bay will beat Montauban at home. I think Toulouse will beat Montpellier away. And Toulon La Rochelle is a bit of a cracker, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Sit with home advantage, Toulon to shade it.
Yeah, I'm going all home wins. This is a real neck on the line, this one. I'm going all home wins with the exception of Toulouse.
Yeah. I think they just seem to be operating at a slightly different level at the moment.
I think it's more than just Montpellier. I've not seen enough from Montpellier to think they're going to have enough to beat. They're just the cohesion in Toulouse, whatever side they're going to put out, whether they do send the kids or whether they think that's a winnable away game and they pick it up. I genuinely struggle to think how many games Toulouse will lose this year in the league. It does feel a little bit like that. Like they didn't even, as you said a minute ago, like Ugo Moller admonishing his players because they went pointless for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and they've got an 18-point margin at home and like completely comfortable. I just think, Montpellier, I've not seen enough clicking. Yeah, to be fair, if they do send kids, Montpellier have got the physicality to kind of best Toulouse. Like, they could cause them some problems, but yeah, Toulouse feel a little bit unstoppable. Obviously, Racing off the back of what will be a because we're filming this Sunday afternoon, what will be a 70-point drubbing of Bordeaux, they will then flop away to Perpignan. But I think Perpignan is showing some bright signs. I know it's 0 from 2 and doesn't look great. I think there is some positivity.
Agreed, yeah. I would agree with that, the little bits I've seen.
Go on then, why are you going for Stade Francais away to Lyon? Because I think Lyon look all right. And bearing in mind at home, they'll go back to being strong, I think.
I was really unimpressed with them against Montauban. I think you were a bit too kind. I think without Wine and Golo, they genuinely lose that game. I don't think they took it by the scruff of the neck. And you're right, they've obviously got players to come back in. But I don't know, I like Stade. I back Stade to make the barrages this year, so I need to follow that through. And Lyon is one of the games you might do, as they did 2 years ago when we went to watch them. Albeit that was a Stade Francais team playing somewhat more coherent rugby than we've seen of late. Yeah, it's an inkling, and it's probably wrong, but there we go.
I don't know where Stade are at, because they were really impressive at home to Montauban. They were kind of utterly outplayed, really, against Pau. They were dreadful away from home last year. I think Lyon, they are 2 from 2, and they look pretty good against the other Parisians. They've had that's a great fixture list start of the season, isn't it?
2 at home to the Paris teams, and then the
at home to
Racing.
Yeah. And then Stade Francais, who were dreadful away last season as well. Who have they got the week after that? Oh, they'll then lose their 4th game, mate. They're away at Pau.
Are they? Okay.
But I think they've still got players to come back. We haven't seen Guillard yet. I don't know if he's injured.
Yeah.
Kuyu, I think he's going to be out for a little bit longer, but I think they'll change it up again. I think Wanakolo is amazing. Whether they bring in Monty Ioane again, whether they bring back Gaban Law again, I think Millet and Youssef Massi in the centres could form something quite tasty, actually. And I think the pack is looking all right. The back row is looking good.
They've got real
Cretan and Simmons.
They've got
Simons,
real depth in the back,
as they call him, but
in the back row, they were a bit creaky at scrum time on Saturday. That's definitely a little bit of an Achilles heel. They started with Makoro, who had a few issues last year. Obviously, very exciting young player who scored a ridiculous try. I know he got a load for Van last year, but he's a pretty clean pair of heels for a front row.
Great little step as well, and offload off the deck from Abtisori.
Oh, it was glorious! So clever the way he
Furlong-esque.
So I don't know. Lyon will probably win that in front of. It depends as well. Will the Lyon crowd be back from their summer holidays after 11 blokes and a dog turned up to watch the Racing game? Yeah, that was.
I think the tougher ones to call. I think Castres will be all right at home to Bayonne. I think Castres actually, as you said, there are more reasons to be positive about Castres than perhaps there might have been last week. I don't think Bayonne have been quite that impressive. No. I know they're 2 from 2, but Castres are the sort of team that can neutralise them for sure. And I didn't realise Arata was going to be playing yesterday. That's obviously a big thing for them.
Makes a huge difference, yeah.
They've seemed to be getting good players back fit. Like Badiang, Staniforth, we mentioned earlier, got options. Yeah. I guess the trickier ones, my boys, Section Paroise, away at Clermont. I think still the physicality is not quite going to be there to be able to beat Clermont away. I think it was an equivalent game last year. We played Clermont 2nd or 3rd round last year and got blown off the park. Clermont just have that physicality still, and I think they've not been dreadful. They've not been particularly good, but they've been better than what are they 0 points from 2 games?
I think they might be.
They are 0 points or minus 28.
It felt harsh, particularly yesterday, given it was a 6-ish, 7-point game at 78 minutes and then two late tries. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think I feel like we were both a little bit underwhelmed with Clermont coming into the season, but there's seems to be a resilience there that perhaps will serve them well, even if things are bedding in a little bit with the new combinations, new 10s, etc.
I think I had them to finish ninth, and I don't think I've seen anything to revise that though.
Yeah,
like, I think they are going to be short of quality in some places. And then the other tough one to call is that last game, the first game and the last game. We're both going Toulon. I think they were unbeaten at the mile last year, weren't they? They lost. They were unbeaten. It was caveats, wasn't it? It was like unbeaten at the mile in the league because they lost the Champions Cup game to Toulouse and they got hammered by Toulouse at the Velodrome.
I think you're right, though. I think they were unbeaten.
Also, La Rochelle were dreadful away last year and have been for years, actually. Whether that will change with the new faces or not. I think the interesting with La Rochelle is like they have looked good the last couple of weeks. They had a relatively settled side. They are going to have to play that side quite a lot because they do have a really small squad and they struggled a little bit at scrum time. And I think Toulon could like make that count.
Still missing Redar Wardy, aren't they? I think he's
they've
massive
got
for them.
They've got Contelia and I can't remember who came off the bench at tight head, but it's still they're younger guys like Penvern and Kadori who are actually like quite good. But when you're up against Prizo actually played tight head yesterday off the bench.
Did he? I didn't notice that.
It was Danny Brenner on the loose and Prizo because he got a good pat on the back from Ludlam when Drayan scored the try because they obviously held up the right side of the scrum. But yeah, I think that I know Skelton you'd imagine might start next week, but I think Toulon may have a little bit too much for La Rochelle up front. And I don't know what side La Rochelle may even send an even younger side as well.
Possibly. I think if it's two full strength sides, it's extremely difficult to call, and I'll err on the side of home win. Yeah, nothing more exciting than that in my predictions.
Well, that is our preview of top 14. So I look forward to a suite of away wins with Montpellier putting 50 on Toulouse kids. But
where there were no away wins was Pro Day Deux, week 3. Unreal. I think last year it was similar. I thought it took a little while, didn't it?
Maybe.
But no away wins. Van nearly and got done on the buzzer, as has become a slight theme over the last couple of years. Willie Duplessis nailed. There's been a bit of that this year, hasn't there? There's been quite a lot in
last minute drama.
Yeah, Now obviously got done twice as well the first 2 weeks. I suppose the kind of main headline and the game that was on FR UK that we both got royally wrong in our predictions was Argennes at home to Grenoble, who after a pretty, I would say, disjointed first 10-15 minutes where Argennes looked like a team who had been struggling for some time, played some fantastic rugby.
Yeah, they played some really good stuff. I thought Grenoble didn't look on it, I have to say, and I think there's going to be a thing for Grenoble about the halfbacks throughout the season. I think Escond looked a bit, I know he's only like 32, 33, but he looked a bit laboured compared to Barnaby Kiyu. And Max Clément, a guy that they've invested a lot of game time in. I think I haven't dug into it, but I don't think his like the win percentage when he has started is particularly good. I think there's obviously a drop off to him from Sam Davis, but also from
Palmier.
Marc Palmier. Yeah, he's also like Marc Palmier is a good like backup pro to fly half, and they've done pretty well when Sam Davis has been away with him at the helm. But I think when it's Clément, he's still young and he looked a bit callow, I think, for Argennes. And you'd hope that having an experienced Heineken Cup winner, I think, in Eric Escond when he was at Toulon, you'd hope that would kind of help them guide around the pitch, but they looked pretty aimless at times. But flip it over, Argennes played some brilliant attacking rugby. Yeah, I was impressed with Craig Willis. I thought he went really well.
Yeah, some of his distribution was lovely. Played quite flat. Thought him and Maunder actually ticked over quite nicely, didn't they? And it was
he gave it a go, didn't he? He was willing to run it more often than not.
And I think it was evident even when they were a bit sloppy in that first 10-15 minutes, and obviously it was Worsley on comms was kind of saying like they are, maybe could do with a little bit more pragmatism, but it seems like they're setting themselves up to be aggressive, play some running rugby. And as you say, actually when it came off, particularly that little period just before and after half time where they scored 3 tries in, I guess, 5 minutes on the official clock. Yeah, they're just a couple of really lovely tries.
They've been capable of good performances the last couple of seasons. It's just the consistency consistency within games, consistency week on week. And I was surprised to see them back up the really good performance from the previous week. But there was a point where Joe Worsley said they're trying to play rugby that is too ambitious for their skill set. And I do think, not many of those players have changed from last year. So whether the coaching has improved with the return of the old coach and Sebastian Calvé going, who knows? But I'm not land of milk and honey with Argennes quite yet. I think there's a few steps forward, a few steps back to accompany their steps forward. That said, Ramoka looks like an absolute unit. Get him involved, because otherwise they're too lateral. They need to use him. Guy that has been so impressive in the first 3 weeks is Lucas Martins on the wing, Portuguese winger, not the hooker for Bayonne. He looks like a really good player, really good attacking talent, like a silky runner and quick.
Yeah, he was very impressive. The other guy two guys in the pack, I know he's been around a while, isn't he? Quite experienced. But John Madigan was very good at the second row. And Tomasi Finian-Ganofo, though, I thought he was brilliant. Very, just aggressive, direct, bit of skill. Yeah, like
he's not, when you see like Tongan flanker, like he's not that sort of player. Like the little bits I've seen, he's actually more of like a traditional English seven, maybe like a little like quick and like wingman, linkman type seven. But yeah, he looks a really dynamic ball carrier. And last week he was really good, and the week before I think he was pretty good. So he's had a really good start season. He's still quite young as well. I think he's only 22. And I thought the pack for scrum time, like Alex Buran, a guy that I've we've known the name for a while, but never quite seen that much of. He looked pretty good at scrum time. So yeah, they're going all right. But I think it was a lot of Grenoble playing quite poorly as well. And Argennes, just when it clicked for them, it worked.
Yeah, be interested to see how they can back it up. They are next week. Bézier's the week after. That's the game we're at. Next week they've got to go to Carcassonne, which is winnable. You would suggest. Not too far away either, having come up from Nationale. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they've got the sort of away minerals to not go and get absolutely thumped like they did in the first game out. But I think everything else otherwise kind of went to script in Pro Day there, right? Like pretty comfortable win, Brive over Valence as you'd expect.
Yeah, absolutely dicked Biarritz as well. Like
yeah. Oyonnax were able to put aside the two on the buzzer losses and get a good win over Colomiers, who
that was I was just going to say that was a quite changed up Colomiers side. I think that result, I know they didn't get anything out of it, losing by 9 points. I think that is a good omen for Colomiers, because they had a really changed up side, and they've obviously pushed an Oyonnax team who are Oyonnax good? We think they're good, but they've pushed them pretty close. So, and we're actually they're largely pointless in the second half, but I think that's a good sign for Colomiers. Shows they've got a bit of depth, shows their kind of philosophy of trying to be like a Toulouse where everything all sinks in. That's quite a good sign as well, that's coming to fruition.
Angoulême, a little bit tighter than perhaps expected. I know the 28-23, I think Dax got a bonus point with a penalty on the buzzer, but perhaps expected the differential there to be a little bit larger. And then what else do we have? Nevers
Dax with their first points. They're still on -4.
-4. Yeah, it's a tough one, that. And then Aurillac hammered Béziers 49-24. And I think there were a couple of late Béziers tries, but there was one absolute worldy, genuine try of the season contender already from Aurillac. And I can't remember who finished it off, but it was absolutely ridiculous. You've got kick passes, chip and chases, offloads, breaks, all in one movement. The Aurillac social media team, after the try was scored, basically put a tweet out saying, "We are Brazil," which I thought was pretty exceptional. But they've had a really good start to the year. Very impressive. Keep back in the lack.
Yeah, well, I guess the kind of lesson there is the cohesion, right? Like, I think that would be an element of Pro Day this season, is how much loads of ins and outs, and I think the teams that are building something cohesive and haven't changed that much will be pretty good, I reckon. Like Argennes, as we said a minute ago, they've not had that many changes. Yeah. Did you catch any of the Mont-de-Marsan Van game?
No, I only saw
slightly changed up Van side, but that's a really good result for Mont-de-Marsan, who weren't like at full strength themselves.
Still got a few injuries, haven't they?
Still got a few injuries, yeah. But no Maxime Lafarge for Van. That's like a rare as hen's teeth that he missed a game. So
I've just found that tweet. It's Aurillac, c'est le Brésil. On danse la samba. Samba, so I don't know. The pronunciation might be a bit off there. However you pronounce samba in French, but Aurillac were dancing it, which is cool.
I guess, Rich, just on Pro Day, is there anything that you've seen that has changed your pre-season opinions or pre-season thoughts? Anything that you've like confirmed or reversed or anything like that?
Not massively. I think maybe my shout of Stade Montois getting in the barrage is maybe a tiny bit ambitious, but I don't think otherwise there's too much there. I think I've been perhaps a little bit more impressed with Carcassonne. I still think it's going to be it will be a struggle. I'm not sure they'll pick up anything on the road, but I was slightly fearful that gap could be massive, and it might still prove to be that way. But it makes me think it might not be like a full kind of relegation confirmed almost by like the halfway point of the season, which can only be a good thing for the league. No, I still think as a complete team, I think Van are still the best team in the competition. And I know they've lost that one, but they've got a draw and a losing bonus point on the road with a changed team in the last one. And were it not for a last minute penalty, they'd be sitting top of the pile. So yeah, not too much. How about you? Is there anything you're suddenly going, I'm miles off on this? Maybe Béziers, actually. That's probably the only. I think we were maybe both slightly blinded to a few of the issues there. Perhaps had thought that they were a little bit more cohesive off the pitch as well than perhaps than it turns out. So maybe that's probably the one. They've had a couple of big losses already, haven't they?
Yeah. They are only -7 though. So in terms of points difference, they had that huge win themselves. I think I'm pretty comfortable and pretty happy with my shout of Colomiers being, that back end of last season not being a one-off. I think they look pretty good generally. I mean, I think as things stand, Aurillac and Agen are doing better than I perhaps thought. I think we were right to say that Soyongalem might not, like, scaling the heights of last year might be a bit tricky. I do think they've been a little bit under par so far this season, despite what is, to all intents and purposes, a really good first win of the season at home to Provence. Yeah, I think, and also I was completely wrong about Brive. I think they do look like they're going to be, well, it's going to take a lot to trip up Brive. I think. I thought they might be a bit disrupted. Like John Cooney has come in and looked seamless in coming into the side, and I thought there was going to be too many changes, and that might disrupt them a bit, but they don't look too disrupted. And we've obviously not seen anything from Dax to suggest that they won't struggle. That's the thing.
I'd agree with that. A quick look ahead to next week. Right, we'll run through them as we have done there. Grenoble-Nevers is the Thursday night, 2 Thursday fixtures for Grenoble. Biarritz host Brive. Colomiers host Aurillac. Saxe-V go to Valence. And then, as we said earlier, you've got Agen to Carcassonne. Dax hosting Oyonnax, Béziers, Mont-de-Marsan, and then big hitter Friday night game, which I believe I think the FRUK game is still the Grenoble one next week. Van Provence on Friday, 9 p.m. Where's your money?
Grenoble to beat Nevers, because Nevers don't travel that well. Biarritz lost to Brive at home last year, didn't they? I think Brive could win that one as well. Yeah. Although they might have an eye on Grenoble the next week. Possibly. Béziers, I think, probably will be all right against Mont-de-Marsan.
Yep.
Colomiers should beat Aurillac. Carcassonne are going to do it against Agen. Dax to pick up their first win at home to Oyonnax. Valence, sure. That could be Saxe-V, Yeah, go on. I'll have Saxe-V in that one. Okay. Away to reprise their great away record from last year, and I think Van could beat Provence quite comfortably.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much with you on those. I think Valence will beat Soyongalem, and I just fancy Agen to go 3 on the spin away at Carcassonne. But otherwise, I feel like Dax have maybe shown a little bit last week that maybe that home win is due, and Oyonnax still a little bit to prove. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, Oyonnax haven't quite hit the heights that we thought they might yet. Maybe they're just going to be a mid-table team. Potentially,
yeah. After the sort of waxing lyrical at the start of the season, maybe that's the case.
Yet again, they've done us with some good signings and got hyped up. Yeah, I mean, The Béziers Mont-de-Marsan one's a tricky one to call, possibly. Mont-de-Marsan, if they, depending on what team they send. But I think Béziers could be a home and away team. Like, could be quite good at home.
Yeah.
Could be quite shit away.
Quite shit.
Interesting to see what side Soyongalem send to Valence Romans, because Valence obviously had like 2 really good results early on. They've then kind of slightly reverted to the mean, I guess, last week, getting hammered away at Brive. They should be at full strength, really, and they've been pretty impressive, back half of last season and certainly early stages of this season. Soyongalem, if they pick the team that they sent to Van, I don't think they'll win, but if they pick a slightly stronger side, then that could be there'll be points in it for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be like 40 points to 44 or something.
Let's hope so. That would be lovely.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Quick roundup, Nationale. It's been a very home-winsy couple of days, and so it proved in Nationale, with the exception of Suresnes, who went away to Lille. Quite a nice little quick train journey up to Lille. 12-8 away, which is a decent result. Couple of close ones, though. Bourg-en-Bresse just snuck past Tarbes 23-22 on Friday
First win
night.
of the season for Bourg-en-Bresse.
Yeah, I think, does that leave Tarbes without a win?
No. Bourg-en-Bresse were the only team that didn't have a win.
It was Bourg-en-Bresse
because they had 2 draws, yeah.
Yes, it was. So Marc and Barouel were at the foot of the table. Albi beat Chambéry. Rennes snuck past Niort 17-12 in the sort of new boys battle. And then relatively comfortable wins for Nice over Massy, Narbonne over Rouen, and Périgueux at home to Bourgoin.
Yeah, so the early pace setters are Nice, Périgueux, Suresnes and Narbonne, which... Well, we could have predicted 3 of those. I don't think we quite saw Suresnes being so formidable, but
a quick little Nationale nibble. I was on a work call with someone the other day. I've got the sort of customary LinkedIn invitation afterwards, and I'm not ashamed to say I was having a little badger of his profile. And on there he was a player at Chambéry in 2017. What? Yeah, South African.
Get him on the pod.
Get him on, yeah. Don't know how it's going to be a weird conversation to be like, I was looking at your page, and by the way, quite into French rugby. So do you fancy coming on and telling us what it was like to play at Chambéry 7 years ago? But yeah,
were they in Nationale then, or were they in Nationale 2 or something like that?
I haven't looked it up, but I feel like they've probably come from the back of the pack a little bit.
He might have played with who did they say? I heard on commentary started at Chambéry. Gigashvili, I think. Oh,
he did. Yes, he did. And then he went to Grenoble, and then Toulon,
I wonder if he played with Becca Gigashvili.
I'll have a look ahead of next week. That could be my homework for the week. In the spirit, then, that was kind of like a little bit of a Petit-Fours. So should we just bundle straight in?
Yeah, go on.
Have you got much? I think
I've got literally nothing.
We really need.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're filming on Sunday. Maybe it all gets posted to Instagram and TikTok and Twitter on a Monday, and therefore I've missed out. But
well, I've got a couple
seen much. I have
a
to
couple
say.
of bits. Nothing too spectacular. But I've got the Chambéry work meeting. Tanya
That's amazing.
Just got engaged. He's obviously about to go to Racing, so congrats to him. Oriaca Brazil, as we've mentioned, which I had there. We've already spoken about Sekou Makalu's cryptic Instagram posts, which were quite amusing. Carcassonne. So we know they've got a fabulous relationship with the local butcher, but they've now also got a new major partner, Compagnie Fruitière. They've now appeared to have a fruit and veg as well as meat partner, which is very good. And then the other bit I saw, which is quite cool, bit of travel stuff. So the Samoa USA game Abraham Papali's playing in was in Denver.
Nice.
And he was out at Red Rocks, which was pretty cool. And then the final thing was
Got a mate from school that plays rugby in Denver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, St.
Yeah, it's supposed to be quite a cool city.
They were. I think that's actually for America. I think it's one of the more popular American listeners, we have some. Come at me if I'm wrong in saying that I think Denver is actually one of the more rugby places, more rugby-y places in America.
Although I know the US, the MLR is in real trouble at the moment. I think they lost maybe two, even three teams in the last 3 months.
It's because Zach Farrance has gone, mate. That's why.
Zach Farrance, who's just signed with Nevers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Our first ever guest on the pod. Big congrats to Zach, who obviously had some real horrible injuries as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's
over a year
buzzing to get back.
Hasn't sorted us out with an interview with San Diego Legion man Marnotti yet, which is
a little bit disappointing. And then the two other bits I had were very cool kit launch for RC Nîmois down in Nîmes.
Green and red, aren't they?
Brilliant green and red kit, and a pretty tasty kind of white predominantly kit with a bit of banding. But they did that at the Arène de Nîmes, which is another. I hadn't realised quite how many bullfighting arenas there are in France.
Oh, wow.
And I always think these look like incredibly cool venues, but I also have absolutely zero interest in going to watch bullfighting. So maybe it's the sort of thing if there's I know they sometimes do concerts at the one in Dax, which looks again like a pretty amazing place. But I'm not sure bullfighting is necessarily my cup of tea.
To be fair, their logo is also a bull.
Yeah, is it a dead bull?
Don't know. No, it's quite Leicester Tigers, that home kit, isn't it? It's quite Leicester Tigers in the early noughties.
Yeah, that's sort of like watermelon green almost.
And the big red band across the middle.
Yeah, I do.
The arena
like
looks
it.
really cool. That looks like a proper.
It's impressive,
that's like
isn't it?
It's like a set of Gladiator. That.
Yeah, it's serious. There are a few good kits. Actually, the Lyon away kit they wore at Montauban's an absolute beauty as well. The red with the black pinstripe.
Quite a big fan of the. I quite liked that La Rochelle.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Black kit with the yellow. Do you know what I don't think is good, which I'm having real issues with?
What's that?
Is the Toulouse kit? I don't like it. I don't like it.
Not a fan. Is the sort of the
it's
reissue
like the weird red,
with like the thin hoops? Is that the?
Yeah, it's like a big black band, and then they've got like the kind of thin hoops kind of around it. It looks quite like I feel like there was some Arsenal kits in like the early noughties that are a bit like that.
They've done like an off-field, like a long sleeve polo, which is very cool of that design, but I don't think it works as the main kit.
I mean, having had a browse ahead of our trip to Ernest Vallon, having had a browse of the Stade Toulousain boutique earlier this afternoon, that's a rare thing for me to pick flaws in some of the Toulouse kit, because I will be trying not to spend my life savings on in the boutique at Stade Ernest Vallon when we go. If potentially we've also had a day out at Montauban, the decision making might be a bit loose by then. Yeah.
Come away with the key thing is, can we find the Argent trench coat? That is obviously number one on the Thursday night.
It's going to be, I'm going to be blooming weird in the Toulouse shop wearing my bright green Montauban apron that I'm going to try and pick up at the Stade Sapiac.
Amazing. Well, to round things off, maybe you could wear an apron whilst you follow Christian Ambadiang and his tutorial for how to make banana bread, which I saw earlier in the week. He put out on his Instagram. Bit of a COVID era throwback. But yeah, Christian Ambadiang. I can only hope and pray it's part of a series of cooking with Christian. He strikes me as quite a fun character, and is also just. I don't think I've ever seen someone in quite such good nick. Maybe him and Maxime Machinot, but it's he is shredded. Right, Rob, we're probably better drop to prepare for various flights to watch Racing put 70 on UBB. But you can follow us at Rosbiff Rugby.
Leave a comment. We've not had any comments for a while on if you've made it this far, the least you can do is comment. I feel like if you've sat through the best part of an hour of us whittering on, just drop a comment. Even if it's like
Shut
a bit
up.
shoddy that you've done it on a Sunday before the round has finished. Like, go on, hammer us. But yeah, if it's you might be listening on YouTube, that's easy, but you can do it on Spotify now. And give us a rating. Ratings, they help, I believe. Yeah,
I think so, something like that. I assume
you'd
so.
imagine they do.
Email us, rosbiffrugby@gmail.com. Genuinely love hearing people's tales, how they started listening to pod, etc. Like that's a genuine thing, not just saying it. And otherwise, Rob, I guess we'll see you on the other side.
We'll be gearing up for our first trip of the season.
First trip of the year, if we haven't gone native and like me in Italy last year when I decided Italy was the one for me. Yeah. Have a lovely holiday, and I'll see you then.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.